Okay, this video is about how to do an elevation. And first, we need to talk about what you need. You will definitely need the first and second floor plan to do an elevation. There's no way you can do an elevation without these being done. You need to know the location of the windows, the doors. We also need to discuss, what an elevation truly is. So an elevation is a side view without perspective, but it shows a little depth of your building. So you can choose, well, you're supposed to do an elevation on every side. But for this assignment, choose either one of the two for the front or the back. So choose one of each, or one or the other. But choose the most interesting side, and then choose another side. So this side seems pretty dull. This side I can show some depth. I'm going to choose showing this side and this side. And you will have to do it to scale. You will have to know not just the floor plans, but you will have to know, and I will show this right now. I'm going to draw a real quick simple sketch of foundation. So, and then I'm drawing a little quick sketch of a section. So you will have to know the distance from the finished floor plan. So the finished floor to the finished ceiling. You need to know this distance. And you should have had an idea of this distance while you were doing your floor plans. And I know I made mine 10 feet. And the material, we're just going to round it to 12 inches just for this exercise. The materials are going to vary depending on what type of subfloor you're going to have here for this second floor. But you will have to know, again, the distance from finished floor to finished ceiling. You will also have to know the distance from the apex of your roof. And I know I made this 10 feet. And the roof, I want to say I did it 6 feet. I could double check, but I like to have these notes for myself, especially that I'm going to do the elevation, when I'm about to do an elevation drawing. So here we go. Let me double check my roof height real quick. And it looks like so from finished ceiling to the roof is approximately 6 feet. And then this drops down. We need to know the distance from here to here of the overhang. And I did mine at 24. inches. And so that way I can continue this line all the way down and, show the material and the eaves. Something like this. And then we'll go over the variations of these ends. So sometimes you'll see this edge right here in architecture. Sometimes those ends can vary. Typically, you might see an end like this. It just the natural wood. There's no shaving of anything. Sometimes you'll see it like this, where they cut a section of this to be flush like that. And then sometimes you'll see very decorative and that can vary. This is custom work right here. So sometimes you'll see stuff like that. But these are the variations that you'll see. You'll have to decide that. And I posted this up on Canvas so you can see different variations of this and the various names of it. But anyway, so that's some of the information that you'll need to know. You'll also need to include in your elevation materials. So something like shingles, could be asphalt. You could do wood siding, stone, brick, oops. You decide. You're the designer. You will also need to include in your elevations vegetation, bushes, trees, and you also need to include people. Average height. Male and female. So this is what you should have in an elevation plan. You should also note that the direction that you're looking at. There's argumentation on which way is north, which way is east. Well, you know on your site plan which way north is, so you should have some sort of north arrow on your floor plans. And so let's just say, for argument's sakes, that this way is north. And so the argument is are we looking north this way or this way? Now, there's argumentation for both. I like to see, personally, I label it where if I'm standing here and I'm looking this way, I'm looking towards the north direction. Or if this is west and I'm standing here, I'm looking east. If I'm standing here, I'm looking west. And so if I'm gonna do an elevation on this side, I'm gonna call it a west elevation. If I'm gonna do an elevation on this side, I'm gonna call it an east elevation. So something like that. Also gonna put the scale. All right, so to set this up, now that we have the information and the list of things that we need on here, we'll go with, one more thing. You will also need on your elevation a ground line. Your ground line is a thick line that comes all the way, it continues. In fact, you know what? I'll just show you. This is your ground line. It doesn't need to go edge to edge, but it needs to be significant enough to where you can see that this is sitting on the ground and it's not floating. So don't forget that. So add that to your list. You'll need a thick ground line. So, all right. Now we are actually going to get set up. So I have a standard printer paper right underneath, and then I have taped down some tracing paper. Right now, what I'm gonna tape down first is my floor plan, and I'm gonna tape it down in such a way to where where I'm gonna drop these lines down is going to approximately be in the middle of this other paper. And so see that it matches up there. See that it's going to match up here. I probably have to turn it a little bit. There we go. Now it's perpendicular. I can also just line it up here, but now I know that this is roughly going to be, these lines are going to be roughly in the middle. And so what I want to do is I want to tape this up in such a way to where I can see what's going to go on here and here. And so I'm going to move this up a little bit. And right now I'm eyeballing bringing these lines down here. And so I don't need this whole sheet to be down on my board, but I do need this information here and here. I also need that same information on the second floor. So I'm gonna line this up, do my best to line this up with the first floor. And that looks about right. And again, I just need this information, and this information. So I just need to tape this down. And I need one more piece of tape. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and tape this down. These are copies of my floor plan. I always make copies of originals because I'm going to just fold this because I don't need that information. I do need this information though, but I could always just, tape this back somewhere, and that's fine. You too can tape it back. but again, you're gonna have to realign this and it's kind of a pain. So I usually tape it down like this, but I'm gonna have to realign it anyway because I realize the garage is up here and I'm gonna need that line. So I'm just gonna go ahead and leave it like that. All right, now I want to show, well, I have my calculations here. So from here to here, plus this is 21 feet, plus 6 feet, 27. So I'm gonna use my scale to show where exactly 27 feet is. And here's the 0, here's 28, here's 27. So I am going to just probably can move it up a little bit more. So here's 27 and here's 0. I'm gonna go ahead and clean up that line work. There it is. There it is. So I know that these two little markings are going to be the very bottom of my structure and the very top of my structure. And then beneath that is going to be the grounding line. And so I'm going to go ahead and draw just a really light line to go all the way across, because I know that this is going to be essentially in the middle of the paper. And so even though it really doesn't matter, because you're going to take this sketch paper and you're going to trace over it, or this tracing paper, and you're going to trace it again on a bond piece of paper. So I'm going to go ahead and use a 3/16 scale, and I made this grounding line 8 inches because I wanted it nice and thick. So that's 8 inches, and I need to get the distance from here to here. I don't know if you can see that. So the distance from this wall to this wall, I need to get that distance. So I'm gonna go ahead and measure. And actually, I don't even need to do that. I can take my triangle and drop this line down. Just gonna drop it down really light here and here. So I really don't need to measure, because I know from the edge of this wall to the edge of this wall is there. Does that make sense? Right? And so I know that it's gonna go a little further, so I'm gonna go ahead and just draw a really, really faint line. I'm doing it a little darker than I normally would. And I know my elevation is going to be within this box. The edge of the roof is gonna come off a little bit. And so I'm looking this way. I have to know what my roof is gonna look like, which I already do. I know it's just gonna go over here, come down, and then this part is just gonna go up. So I've already sketched that prior to that. So my roof is going to look like this. And it's gonna go down that way, this is gonna go down this way, and this is gonna go down that way. So I know my roof's gonna look like that. I don't have the dimensions, but I've already sketched it out in my head. This is what I wanna do. I know that the measurements from the overhang is 24 inches. So I'm gonna account for that. So this is going to be essentially from the top view what my roof plan is going to be. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I know that I'm going to have to add another 24 inches this way. 24 inches is also 2 feet. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Here and here. And again, I'm just going to use my tools, help me out. All right, so I know that 24 inches is from here to here, and that's going to be my overhang for my roof. Now, it's going to go even further down. The roof is going to go down here somewhere. So I don't know how far it's going to go down, but I know it's going to go down enough to where it's going to cross this line, and that's where I need to stop. So now that I have that, I can bring down on the first floor this line for this wall. So I'm going to match up this line for this wall right here. And so that's going to be on the first floor. I'm going to draw it super light. Oh, I forgot to do this. My grounding line. And I'm going to use the chisel real quick. Get it nice and dark. All right, I'm gonna clean that up afterwards, but I know that that's where my grounding line is gonna be, and I'm okay with that. I'm also gonna bring down the line work for this window right here. I also need to have to know how high this window is gonna be. So from this ground line to how high the window is gonna be. And so I'm just going to, right now, just give the vertical lines its form. And so I'll go ahead and do that, and that. So right now I don't have the height for the windows shown, but I can measure that. So I'm gonna bring this down, and it's gonna be 2.5 feet right here. And from there, it's going to be 4 feet for each window. And then I can go ahead and do the horizontal lines for this window here and here. And you can start to see that these are now forming. And so I can clean up these lines a little bit. Here and here. I can go ahead and clean up these little dots that I made. Again, these are just, you know, for my reference. I'm gonna clean this up and when I transfer it to that paper. All right, so I also do know that from finished floor to finished ceiling is 10 feet. And I don't have a, let's see if I have a balcony. So now I'm gonna use my second floor to depict everything up here. I'm done with the first floor. You see how quick that is? I don't have a whole lot. I just have these two windows and this area right here to show. I don't have anything on the second floor, but I'm going to do that right now. I'll go ahead and align this up. So I will have all this information. All right. So now, again, I'm just gonna drop these lines down. So I have a balcony right here. And it stops right here. And actually this wall goes all the way down. I drew the balcony. So I gotta erase this. This line is for the balcony only. And now that I've started this line here, I'm just gonna go ahead and extend it down. I don't know how far I'm gonna extend it down, so I'm just gonna do a really faint line. But I know that the measurement from here to the bottom of this balcony is going to be 10 feet. Because I said that right here. So my balcony is gonna shoot off here and there because I need the same material to hold people up in this balcony. I'm gonna use a cantilever system to hold people up in this balcony. So here is 10 feet, here's 11. Now this seems like it's a little off, but this line right here is the top of the roof. So we'll get there. All right, now that I have that, I can continue this line down. All the way to my marker. Again, I'm doing this really light. I mean, you should be doing this really light. This is actually pretty heavy. And oops, I think, yeah. Let me double check. And nope. That is the wrong line. That's okay. I needed to drop this line down. And this happens. You got to pay attention. This line needs to drop all the way down to here. And this line right here needs to go over. So we have this wall, and then we need this balcony right here to drop down. Which is okay because we have, again, another balcony right here. And so I can erase this. This is going to be a wall going down to the first floor. All right, then we have this wall right here on the second floor. So I'm just gonna bring this down. And there you have it. So I have this balcony over here, this balcony right here, and I have the garage right here, and oops, I can. Yeah, the garage right here. So this balcony's sitting on top of this garage. So the line for the garage goes straight down. And this balcony stops right here. Oops, I shouldn't do that. There we go. How high does a balcony go up? Well, you know, it's your balcony, but I'm gonna do mine 3.5 feet. I don't want kids falling over. Each city has their own codes. So, but on average, you know, 3.5 feet is pretty decent size edge for your balcony. So that's the top of this balcony wall. And that is the top of this balcony wall. I can erase this line and this line right here. Good to go. Now I can now this balcony, could it be wrought iron? It could be. Could it be something else that's, you know, a little more contemporary? It could. But I imagine a family's gonna live here with some children. And so I wouldn't want them to be able to slip through these bars. So I'm just gonna make this like a half wall, a stucco half wall. And you see that. So I don't need this line right here, but I wanna reference it because I won't erase it completely right now. But I want to be able to identify that this later on, that this is a balcony, so I don't get confused on my for myself. All right. Not only that, but I know that this is the finished floor line right here, and I need to know this because I need to put windows up here, and I'm going to go ahead and use that 2.5 feet from the finished floor line again to put these windows. And so right now I'm just going to drop these windows down. That's 3.5 feet, so I know I need to come down a little bit more. Again, I'm going really light. And there you have it. I just need to measure from this finished floor line on the second floor, 2.5 feet, and 2.5 feet is right here. So I'm gonna leave a little mark right there. Right now, all we're doing is we're getting the shape of the openings, the shape of the building, and then we're gonna start adding the details once we have these shapes done. So from here, I'm gonna go up to 4 feet. Drop that line right there. Again, I made really faint lines. Now I want to do the roof. I know that the roof from here to here is 6 feet. From this finished floor line to here is 10. So yeah, that matches up. All right, so I know my roof line is going to be right here and it needs to come down. And so let me go ahead and clean up some of this line work right here. And this is how you can quickly create an elevation. Go straight across like that. And I realized that from here to here, you are going to see an apex in the middle of this roof from here to here. So, and I do need to go 2 feet out, so it's gonna hang down here. So this is, this needs to come down to here. And this needs to come down to here. Because this is going to shoot out this way, and you'll see this side. This side, you're only gonna see, well, you'll see. So the measurement from here to here, we'll get that. And that looks to be 35 feet and 3 inches. So 35 and 3 inches, 35 feet divided by 2, 17 and a half. So 17 feet 9 inches, because I need that 3 inches. So 17 feet 9 inches right here. So I'm going over 9 inches on this side. So I got the 9 inches down, and then now I just need to go over to 17 feet. This is the middle. That's this is where the apex of this roof line, or this roof, is going to be. And there we go. So now we're connecting the dots. So from here to here. And then from here to there. But I do need to go out another 2 feet. From there. So I kind of messed up on that side. Let me fix that. This line does not exist. This line does not exist. Well, this line might exist. So. All right, so from here to here, I need to go out 2 feet. Oops, and actually, I was supposed to go, so I messed up on this line as well. So you can see how it's kind of difficult to keep track of your lines. So I'm drawing a line here, and I'm extending this line here. This is going to be the eave. I do need to cross this and meet here. Terminate the roof material here. So here's how to do it. The apex, where did it go? Is that it? Right, so 17.9, let's do it again. So from here, 9 inches, 17 is right here. All right. All right, that's going to be the apex of the roof, the very tip top of that. So now I need to go through this point right here, this corner right here, and my line needs to terminate right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, here to there. And same thing on this side. Start here, it needs to go through this point and terminate there at that line. Now I'm gonna put an edge to this. It's not gonna just stay there. So I'm gonna drop this down, let's say 8 inches. So I'll do that here. That's 8 inches. And that is 8 inches. And then I'm going to drop this down 8 inches. And this is going to give me that clean edge that you typically see on a house. It's not just a straight line. You'll see like a piece of wood right here at the edge. And so this gives me that eave that I want. And now you can see, I'm gonna go ahead and stop this video because I think it went on a little long, but you can see I have most of the shape of my house. I'm gonna clean up these lines, I'm gonna darken stuff up, and I'll show that in another video.